When this person died under unforeseen and unpredictable circumstances in 1993, it has remained a cold case file for most Canadian journalists. And what's ironic here, this guy wasn't a common person. This is probably the biggest wrestler to come out of Canada in the WWF for his generation, because his results in the ring drew a lot of ire and drew a lot of fan fame in his hometown wrestlers. Hometowns he wrestled in Quebec and wrestled internationally. Now, today we're not going to be doing the full story of how Dino Bravo got a whole bunch of bullets by the mafia because of his alleged illegal dealings. We're going to talk mostly about his career, and we're going to detail some of the case at the end of this podcast. But we're doing this as a public service, and if we are presenting information, we're not exploiting his memory. What happened occurred, and it has to be talked about when you're talking about his career. Now, he was born Adolfo Bresciano, however you pronounce it, in Campobasso, Molise, Italy. Wasn't a natural-born Canadian. Now, the Italian-Canadian professional wrestler was better known again as his longtime ring name, Dino Bravo. Now, after training under the great Gino Brito, he started his career in Montreal in the 1970s, working for Lutte Internationale, better known in English as International Wrestling. He became one of the top professional wrestling stars of Canada, winning several major titles, including the Canadian International Heavyweight title 6 times, the NWA Canadian Heavyweight title, Toronto version 1 time, and the NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Championship. He later signed with the WWF, where as a partner to Dominic DiNucci, who won their World Tag Team title. He was also the sole holder of the WWF Canadian Championship before the title was abandoned in 1986. Vince basically gave him the title and said, when you wrestle, you have this. But get this, he couldn't lose the title to an American. So basically it was an undisputed crown. Now, after leaving professional wrestling, Bravo allegedly became involved in organized crime, mostly working for the Cotroni crime family. He was eventually killed in his home by multiple gunshots in March of 1993, and the crime, as of this audio, remains unsolved. Now, Dino was born in the commune of Campobasso in southern Italy to Mario and Oslelio Brescioni. The family immigrated to Canada when Brescioni was young, settling in the Salto Sud neighborhood of the Montreal borough of Ville-Marie. He started training in amateur wrestling at the age of 12. Now, he began wrestling in 1970, taking the name Dino Bravo from a wrestler from the early 1960s who had teamed with Dominic DiNucci as the Bravo brothers. Now, Dino and Dominic. He was trained by Gino Brito and often worked in the tag team with his mentor, billed as Brito's cousin. Bravo worked in a number of other tag teams, partnering with, among others, Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods and DiNucci. Now, Bravo held the Jim Crockett Promotions version of the NWA World Tag Team title with Woods, winning the title from Gene and Ole Anderson, and eventually losing title to the Andersons. Bravo also had a major problem with Blackjack Mulligan, pinning Mulligan twice in a televised non-title match to set up a series of matches for Mulligan's U.S. crown. Bravo did not win the U.S. title from Mulligan, but did receive several shots at AWA World Champion Harley Race during his tenure with Crockett. Now, by the late 1970s, Bravo had become big enough draw to get a singles push in the Montreal territory. In December of 1978, he defeated Gene Kiniski in Toronto to win the new Canadian heavyweight title as recognized in that area. With Dominic DiNucci, Bravo captured the WWF World Tag Team title in March 1978 from Professor Tanaka and Mr. Fuji. 3 months later in June, the Yukon Lumberjacks defeated Bravo and DiNucci for the crown. In the early 1980s, Bravo and King Tonga, later known as the Man Monster Haku, formed a tag team for a brief time. Now, Bravo eventually returned to WWF in late 86 with a new look. He was now noticeably more muscular and almost immediately began bleaching his brown hair blonde. He was again the heel and began working as part of Luscious Johnny Valiant's stable with Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Beefcake was eventually kicked out of the stable at WrestleMania 3, and Bravo took his place in the Dream Team tag team with Valentine. Now, Bravo began return to singles competition after a few months and began a strongman gimmick. In his days of wrestling mostly in Canada, Bravo was known as more of a technical wrestler, but with his strongman gimmick, his technical side was pushed in the background, and his style changed using power moves such as body slams, clotheslines, punches, and kicks, and other power holds such as the bear hug, while his finishing move changed from an airplane spin to a sidewalk slam. At the '88 Royal Rumble, Bravo was legitimately strong, was said to be able to press more than 500 pounds, attempted a bench press what he claimed was 715 pounds, which would have been a world record at that time. Commentator and former bodyguard Jesse the Body Ventura helped lift the bar at one point, but Bravo played the lift as a success and began billing himself as the world's strongest man. In this gimmick, Bravo feuded with the magnificent Don Morocco, Ken Patera, Ronnie Garvin, and Jim Duggan. Now, he eventually played up his Quebecois identity by wearing the symbol of the Quebecois separatists, the fleur-de-lis. It was managed by, of course, the legendary Frenchie Martin, who often told around a sign reading, "USA is not okay." In March '88, Bravo lost in the first round of the WWF Championship tournament at WrestleMania 4 against Don Morocco after pulling the referee between himself and Morocco to prevent a hit from the Hawaiian. Before the match, to further play on Bravo's World's Strongest Man claim, Jesse Ventura in commentary claimed that during Bravo's record lift of 715 pounds, he had only used his two little pinkies and only put 2 pounds of pressure on the bar. Now, during the rematch at the inaugural SummerSlam at Madison Square Garden in August of that year, Martin distracted Bravo's opponent Morocco to allow Bravo to get the victory. Morocco's usual manager, superstar Billy Graham, was of course doing commentary for the event and alongside Gorilla Monsoon, as Ventura was assigned as a guest referee for the main event. Thus Graham, who was not at ringside, could only look on in frustration at Bravo's and Martin's illegal tactics. In October at the King of the Ring, Bravo lost to Jim Duggan in a flag match. At the Royal Rumble in January '89, Bravo, accompanied by Frenchie Martin, teamed with the fabulous Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond, but lost a 203 Falls match against Jim Duggan and the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart. At WrestleMania 5, Bravo defeated fellow Canadian and former NWA champ, Rugged Ronnie Garvin. Now, after Frenchie Martin's departure, Bravo joined Jimmy Hart's stable and entered a feud with another power wrestler, the Ultimate Warrior, unsuccessfully challenging Warrior for his WWF Intercontinental Championship. Now, prior to the WrestleMania 6 loss to Duggan, Bravo teamed up with fellow Canadian Earthquake. Bravo would often display his strength by doing push-ups while the 460-pound Earthquake sat in his back, although Tenta kept his feet on the floor, so not all his weight was on his partner. The team of Earthquake and Bravo would go on to have a lengthy feud with Hogan and Tugboat. Now, following the WrestleMania 7 loss to Kerry Von Erich, he wrestled less frequently, with his next appearance on WWF TV coming in August '91 as a face, without Jimmy Hart or dyed blonde hair, now billed as the Canadian strongman, Dino Bravo, and victories over Louis Spicoli and Shane Douglas, who had also defeated Bravo on January 3rd, '91 at a house show in Scranton. Bravo would begin a short run on Montreal house shows as a face against the Mountie, Jacques Rougeau, and the Barbarian. In his final match, television on Sky Movies, he and Colonel Mustafa lost to the Legion of Doom in Sheffield, England. Bravo then left the WWF and retired from wrestling, following a European tour in April '92. After retiring, he helped train wrestlers in Montreal. Now, according to the Dark Side of the Ring documentary and published reports, allegedly Dino was getting involved in a lot of strange things because within his family they had heavy mafia connections. Now, allegedly he was involved in illegal cigarette trade, and I guess there was some kind of retribution over a cocaine sting by the cops. On March 10th, '93, Brescioni was found dead at the age of 45. He was hit by 17 bullets in the head and torso at his Vermont-Laval, Quebec home. His alleged role in illegal cigarette smuggling in Canada is popularly believed to have led to his unsolved homicide. According to former opponent Bret Hart, Brescioni confided to friends shortly before his death that he knew his days were numbered. He was a nephew by marriage of Montreal crime boss Vic Catroni and was believed by authorities to be involved in the organization for some time. Now, did he piss off people in his own mafia, the other mafias in Quebec, or the Aboriginal mafia with the cigarette trade or the cocaine? We don't know. All we know is that if you watch Dark Side of the Ring, all the speculation is there. Now, he's entombed at the Notre Dame de Neige Cemetery in Montreal, and again, his death was the subject of the 6th episode in the 2nd season of wrestling documentary series Dark Side of the Ring, which was aired on April 21st, 2020. Now, that documentary is only a small capsule of what is alleged to have gone on, but if you want to find more detail, if you can read French, if you're bilingual, there's numerous articles that have been published and speculation over the years by members of the Quebec wrestling media. Yes, there's a Quebec wrestling media, ladies and gentlemen, and more details come in the book Midgets, Mad Dogs, and Screwjobs, the award-winning book that was published by ECW Press a few years ago. Now, championships and accomplishments. Grand Prix Wrestling in Montreal, he won the tag team titles twice with Gino Brito. Lutte Internationale, he won the international title 6 times, and the international tag team title once with Tony Parisi. In Maple Leaf Wrestling, he was 2-time NWA Canadian champion. In Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, he won the Mid-Atlantic Tag Team title 3 times with Mr. Wrestling, Tiger Conway Jr., and get this, Ricky Steamboat. Now, he won the NWA World Tag Team title with Mr. Wrestling, which was the Mid-Atlantic version. Now, NWA Hollywood, he won the NWA America's Heavyweight title at 1 time, and he was the NWA America's Tag Team title winner with Victor Rivera. Pro Wrestling Illustrated named him Most Improved Wrestler in '78, and the PWI ranked him 179 of the 500 best singles wrestlers during the PWI years in 2003. In the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, he won the WWF Canadian title 1 time, inaugural and final. Again, he was presented the crown. And he won the WWF World Tag Team title 1 time with Dominic DeNucci. Now, as big as Quebec wrestling was in the 1970s with the Rougeaus, the Vachons, everything else, the Leducs, Dino Bravo is a cornerstone of Quebec wrestling. He was unfortunate he got involved in the situations he was, but at his best, he was a power wrestler, technical wrestler, he had the skills, and he would draw money all the time in Quebec. It was a normal occasion where there would be a Saturday or Sunday wrestling show. Dino Bravo would be the headliner. And Quebec wrestling, and again the 60s, 70s, 80s, were huge, bigger than WWF. It was similar to what you see now with the growing days of AEW. Each one of the wrestlers had their own hometown aspect. Montreal's a big city, and different parts of Montreal was represented in the association. But I think his best tag team, in my personal opinion, is with Haku, because Haku, my God, he's still wrestling too, Haku. Tough nut. You get a Samoan and Quebecer together, they know how to wrestle. That's all I can say. So that's a life and times and the tragic death or the unforeseen death of Dino Bravo. If you like what we're doing here with our wrestling podcast, let us know with a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are a Hostess Chips fans of the 1980s, you probably remember the Dino Bravo stickers from that generation. And somewhere, someplace in the Maritimes or Ontario or Quebec, Dino Bravo's sticker is on an old abandoned lunch can, still promoting the fact he was one of the best pound-for-pound Quebec wrestlers of all time. Thanks for listening, and stay safe.